Getting from A to B shouldn't harm our health or the environment. It should be accessible, affordable and reliable for all Australians. So how do we clean up our transport system and enjoy the massive benefits to our health, the environment and our hip pockets? Chuck your helmets on, we're going for a ride.
Yeah, well, I think that most people don't really appreciate how polluting our transport system in Australia is. We have a reputation for having clear skies in Australia, but actually that's not the case. Pollution from fossil fuel powered vehicles is responsible for more than 12,000 people being hospitalised with cardiovascular issues, 7,000 with respiratory issues, and 66,000 cases of childhood asthma each year.
Transport is the biggest source of Australia's carbon emissions after energy. Personal transport, the way that you and I get around, is one of our fastest growing sources of this harmful carbon pollution. So, its emissions are going up, not down, the complete opposite of what we need right now. Most of our vehicles run on fossil fuels, petrol and diesel, which release greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and other air pollutants when we drive them around. These greenhouse gas emissions are driving climate change.
So as a major and growing contributor to Australia's national emissions, it's clear the transport system needs a big clean-up for both our climate and our health.
Research shows that transport pollution is much more harmful than many people think. There are two main types of air pollutants that we're really concerned about. One is nitrogen dioxide, and that's strongly linked with childhood asthma. And the second one is PM 2.5. So that is the particulate matter 2.5. These are the tiny air pollution particles. And we used to just think that PM 2.5 was related to heart and lung disease, dementia, diabetes, kidney disease. But now we're understanding much more, and that these very small air pollution particles can get into the bloodstream and cross the placenta. So that air pollution level is associated with premature babies and low birth weight babies and have much more widespread impacts throughout the human body. And those things, of course, have lifelong implications. As a doctor and as a mother, one thing that really concerns me is that it's babies and children who are one of the groups who are most vulnerable to the health risks of transport pollution. When I walk my 5-year-old daughter to school in the mornings, we walk past a row of idling cars. And so she is breathing in those fumes from the vehicle exhaust every morning. I'm often thinking, we were not allowed to smoke around schools. Why are we allowing a whole line of cars to idle outside a school gate, which is exposing these children to high risk of air pollution?
Transport connects us to everything we need. Our friends and family, our communities, workplaces, healthcare. And the good news is, we've got all the solutions we need to clean up the transport system and make this transition happen today.
To clean up Australia's transport system, we will need to think bigger than simply replacing existing gas-guzzling vehicles with electric ones. We need to redesign our transport system to put people at the centre of it. This means prioritising the movement of people, not cars. We need to provide Australians with more choice in how they get around. That means investing in the infrastructure and services that will make it easier for people to choose public and active transport for more trips, more often.
This will help us achieve something called mode shift, which is when people switch from using one type of transport, like petrol-powered vehicles, to another, such as public transport powered by clean electricity, or bikes, or even walking.
The Climate Council's research has found we can cut transport emissions by 75% this decade if we halve the number of car trips Aussies make. That means boosting daily trips on electric public transport by 3.5 times and seeing a tripling of active trips, like walking and riding. Achieving this kind of shift will reduce traffic congestion and increase safety for us all. It will also reduce air pollution and emissions, making our cities safer, the air we breathe cleaner, and our public spaces more livable.
The Climate Council is calling on Australia's state and territory governments to enable a big shift to public and active transport by increasing investment in active transport infrastructure, such as better connected bike lanes and footpaths, boosting investment in public transport to 50% of the total transport budget, and by electrifying public transport by 2035 at the latest, and ideally by 2030.
Not everyone will be able to use public and active transport to get everywhere they need to go. For trips that need a private vehicle, and for people with mobility challenges, EVs can help replace polluting petrol cars.
We're used to switching between our laptops, phones, tablets to meet our technology needs. Why should transport be any different? We can use different types of transport to meet our needs, whether that's walking the kids to school or catching the bus to work.
We all deserve cleaner air, safer streets and more livable cities where everyone, particularly our most vulnerable groups, have affordable, accessible and reliable ways of getting around, without the huge cost to our health and our climate.